Alright, just another day at the TG University Hospital. Let me just make a note in the boss's agenda real quick before I leave for the day. Kill Josuke and Mamazuku ASAP. That should be good. Hello everyone, and welcome to JoJolion Chapter 89 review and discussion, the long-awaited 89th chapter. And to celebrate this occasion, I've decided to channel my inner head doctor and rock human with a lab coat and heartbeat monitor, which are way too hot to be wearing in 90-degree weather, but we do it for JoJolion. And before we get into this month's chapter review, I would first like to take a moment to thank Amino for sponsoring this video, and xForts from yesterday will tell you guys more about that. I've once again teamed up with Amino to promote their new story feature on the app, and I've created another story talking about my top 5 favorite stands in JoJolion. And if you're a few weeks or months late to this video, don't worry, unlike other story features on other apps, the Amino stories never go away. You can check out my new story by clicking the top link in the description or in the pinned comment, and you can find my profile by simply searching xForts and my name will pop right up. And on my profile is of course where you'll find all of my stories, as well as you can follow me and turn on notifications there. So if you want to see my top 5 favorite stands in JoJolion, be sure to check out Amino and my story. But with that said, back onto this month's JoJolion. So JoJolion Chapter 89, the chapter people have been hyping up in anticipation to see more of the head doctor, maybe a reveal, maybe a stand reveal, or just see more of him in general. And yes, thank you Araki, the head doctor, who is 89 years old, appears in Chapter 89. And to get right into this chapter, starting with the cover page, a pretty simple design going on. We just see the back of the head doctor, the same way we've always seen him, retaining his mysterious image and alluding to maybe this man doesn't have a face at all. And we also see face shots of every important character going on in this current climax, or the arc that is the head doctor. And don't forget about anyone featured here, you know, although maybe Norisuke or Tsurugi, or obviously Jobin seems a little bit more important recently with this last chapter with Ojiro, but especially don't forget about Tsurugi. I know things can get a bit distracting this chapter, you know, we're really getting hyped up about who this head doctor is, but maybe he might not be anyone at all. Maybe he's just a projection, but we'll talk about that more later in this chapter. And like I mentioned, Tsurugi, especially don't forget about Tsurugi. I know we haven't seen him in quite a while, probably since the flash forward a few chapters ago with, you know, where we saw Norisuke's death, or at least what we think it is as of right now. And if you also remember, when we saw Tsurugi at his school, when he hurt that student using his new paper moon cane or whatever the hell was going on there, the head doctor was also there. So Tsurugi may have some sort of connection with him, and it does kind of, you know, does anyone else get paper moon cane vibes going on right here, where we're chasing after this person that seems intangible and no one else seems to notice this person but Josuke and Mamazuku? Maybe they're being affected by Paper Moon Cane. Maybe they have been, like, pretty much, like, for a while now, but who knows? Fun fact, guys, in Chapter 89 of Steel Ball Run, Funny Valentine was dead. But here we are in 89 of JoJolion. So to get into the chapter, starting off, the first thing we see is the police chasing after Josuke and Mamazuku. Let's rewind real quick to Chapter 86, if you guys don't remember what was going on the last time we saw Josuke and Mamazuku. So the last time we saw them was right when they began pursuing the head doctor, and they were outside of the TG University Hospital. They were chasing after him, and we saw the first use of its ability where things are knocking into you. And we talked a lot about it in Chapter 89, and we get more exposition of what this stand's potential ability could be, and it's pretty much exactly what we predicted. Things will bump into you by coincidence, but of course it's the stand that's causing it, and the damage will be amplified. So even if someone like taps you on the shoulder or something, it will be like someone like shot you, which is pretty crazy, and we'll see more of that later in the chapter. And when we see these police officers chasing after them, they got caught by the police because, like, one of the things the stand did, it will physically bump things into you, but it will also, like, more intangibly make it so you can't chase after the head doctor. So obviously, you know, making you run into things like physically makes you not able to chase the head doctor, but the way it also works is that when Josuke was approached by that man and Josuke just touched him, the guy's neck broke. So that put Josuke in a situation where he would be being pursued by the police, and there was people all around with their cell phones out. So it's like the stand manufactured that situation that would then result in Josuke and Mamazuku being chased down by the police, which is like pretty crazy to think about how a stand could even work that way. So not only does it physically make you bump into things, it will also like just mess with everything around you just so you won't be able to get after this head doctor, which is pretty crazy. So we're in the middle of a police chase right now. And before we get to actually see Josuke and Mamazuku, we get some small setup before at the Higashikata house where we see Norisuke. And I feel like this happens all the time where we just see like a slow build up to the chapter, and it's always Norisuke and the useless members of the Higashikata family in the background just loaning around like, get a job, go to school, you guys, they're such moochers. Hato, Daya, and Joshu, well, Daya has an excuse, she's disabled, so she can stay at home, but Joshu and Hato, go get a job, go do something. Stop mooching off Norisuke all day. And what we see Norisuke doing, he's looking through the newspaper, and there's an article in it that says, like, watch out for these men. They're being chased after because we believe they murdered someone. So if you see these men around, please call the police. And it's like, okay, very inconspicuous Josuke and Mamazuku. You see Josuke in a full-on sailor's outfit, and Mamazuku in whatever the hell you would call his outfit. You can't miss him. You'll see these guys coming from a mile away. So they're obviously being pursued by the police, of course. And on the news, you also see Ojiro and his girlfriend, their murders are being reported, which is pretty cool. You can see the ripple of all of our characters' actions being reflected in the town of Morioh. And yeah, that was just a cool little thing to see. And you can also see the age difference in Ojiro and his girlfriend. Ojiro was 22 years old, and his girlfriend was, let me see here, she was 44. That is a 20-year age difference. Ojiro is the real MILF hunter in all of JoJo. And also in this short little build-up, we get a bit of foreshadowing where we see the weather also being reported. I believe it was either in the newspaper or on the news. And there is a forecast for rain, which will be important later in the chapter, which is just a nice little bit of foreshadowing for Araki to throw into these chapters. But then we get into Mamazuku and Josuke and where they are right now, which is fucking hilarious. And also I just noticed, if any of you guys are wondering why I'm holding a Joy-Con this chapter review, I mentioned in the last chapter review that I needed a clicker that I could, go through the chapter as I talk through it. And if you have a Bluetooth receiver, you can just use a Joy-Con, and you don't need to buy a dedicated clicker, which are like $15. So yeah, save some money in there, and a Joy-Con looks a lot cooler. So getting back into the chapter here, we see Josuke and Mamazuku, and from the previews, usually before a chapter comes out, we'll get like a few panels tweeted out by the teams that translate them, or some people straight out of Japan. We'll show some previews of the chapter, and we saw Josuke and Mamazuku in his Lamborghini in a bush that we thought it was. And I think it's so funny that Josuke has a Lamborghini. If you guys don't remember, way back in early JoJolion, when, it was sort of the first time we met Jobin, not the first time, but like when they fought against beetles, I believe Jobin and Josuke made a bet or something where it's like, if I win, I get your Lamborghini. And Josuke won, and he stole Jobin's Lamborghini. And throughout this entire part, it is relevant sometimes that Josuke has a Lamborghini, and he's used it a handful of times. So yeah, when they were leaving after the people called the police on him, they got in the Lamborghini, and they went to an undisclosed location. So we see Mamazuku healing himself up, although I don't understand why he needs to use glue and tape to heal himself, when before, at the end of the Ozone Baby fight, he was like completely destroyed and turned into spaghetti, but he just like reassembled himself, but now for some reason he has to use like actual glue and tape. I don't know, maybe he had a fracture in a leg or something and he's like splinting it up, who knows. But I don't know, sometimes doggy style can heal Mamazuku, sometimes it can't. I don't know, we'll have to see until the end of this part and like really get some concrete rules on doggy style. Because I remember that in the brainstorm arc when doggy style was first introduced, it was like, I cannot heal myself. I just lost these 3 fingers, they're gone forever. 20 chapters or so later, he's got his fingers back. He lied. Maybe it's just over time his fingers just like naturally grew back. But then we get the reveal of where Josuke and Mamazuku are, and they're in the Lamborghini in a goddamn tree. Never is it explained how they got into a tree, but they are just in a tree hiding out. They also said how much time is left until the harvest. And back in chapter 86, when they first got the police called on them, it was 6 days. And now it's 48 hours. So they spent like 3 whole days. They spent more than 3 days. They spent like 4 days in this tree in a Lamborghini, and no one noticed them. No one thought to call the police on them. They've just been hiding out there. There's also some other cool little things where it's like this guy that shows up to work do some maintenance on the tree or something. Mamazuku's like, hey, if you plan on doing this, blah blah blah, like plant terms, can you do this later? And the guy's like, no problem, Mamazuku-san, I'll come back later and do it. Which is funny because it's like all of the people in the Morioh community that know anything about plants or work in like farming or with plants, they just know who Mamazuku is. Like he's well known among his profession, which was just like a nice little detail. And while we're seeing all these crazy things like the maintenance worker on the tree giving them supplies through like a little basket that they bring back up to them with a rope, and Mamazuku talking about how he went to the convenience store to get a newspaper, as then they'll see the article that they're being chased down by the police, and that's also why they're in the tree. They're just hiding out low because they know they're being chased. We get some more dialogue explaining the head doctor's stand, and Mamazuku sums it up pretty well. It's just like things knocking into you, and when that happens, they'll just become really strong. But then things get really weird when we see more of the head doctor's stand being used. Akafu is like the name that we believe he's being gone by, and they're talking about how like, okay, so if we pursue him, we will be attacked by something, but it's like, what if we don't pursue him at all? What if we just go somewhere that we know he's gonna be, and we just wait for him? Which is really smart for them to do, because it's like, oh, we're not pursuing him. If anything, he's pursuing us. He's coming to us. And Mamazuku, in the newspaper he got, saw that there were, lectures, scheduled out that would take place at the TG University Hospital, and one of them was going to be led by Akafu, who we believe is the head doctor. So smart on Mamazuku's part. But then we see I don't know if Josuke and Mamazuku are misinterpreting the stand's ability, but if this is really what it does, this just seems like so broken, even for a stand, because it just makes it just so omnipotent, which is really crazy. And as soon as they begin discussing their plan of going to meet the head doctor at the lecture at the TG University Hospital, the same stand from chapter 86 that appeared behind Josuke and Mamazuku in the stairs comes back again. And originally, I thought that this was going to be Toru's stand, because the eyes of the stand reflected Toru's design, and for some reason, this stand just reminds me a lot of Toru. And we know for a fact, not for a fact, but pretty much, that guy also is in works with the head doctor, because that he helped the head doctor when he bumped into Josuke and Mamazuku with one of the stretchers. So it's like 100% those two are working together. I think that for sure. Also, a funny small detail is that the stand appeared almost directly after Mamazuku said the words 89 years old, which would just be hilarious that instead of the stand attacking you after you have the intent of pursuing the head doctor, what if the trigger for the stand attacking you is just saying the words 89 years old? That would be too hilarious. But then we get into the thing I was talking about, how the stand is just so omnipotent. So Josuke and Mamazuku just had a discussion and were thinking of meeting the head doctor somewhere, and the stand began attacking them, which is like, that is just too broken. It's like King Crimson times 1,000. So the head doctor wants his identity to be revealed a secret, or at least that's the way it's coming off right now. And apparently, if this stand belongs to the head doctor and not Toru, the way it works is that if anyone even thinks in their head of finding out his identity, it will immediately attack you. I bet Diavolo wishes he could have this ability, but it's like, that just seems so busted to me. And it's like, I really think Josuke and Mamazuku may be misinterpreting the stand's ability, or the way it's coming off in this chapter isn't the way it actually works. Or, maybe we're mixing up the users, or the way, obviously the stand needs to physically be somewhere, but then we get into the discussion of like, okay, what type of stand is it? Obviously it looks to be a long range automatic stand. I'm sure whoever's the stand user right now, whether it be the head doctor or Toru, I'm sure they don't know at all times what Josuke and Mamazuku are thinking, because that would just at that point, the stand user is essentially God. He can attach his stand to someone and just know what they're thinking at all times. Or maybe it's just when they're thinking about the user, they're able to attach their stand to him in some way. But as it works right now, if the stand belongs to the head doctor, if you have the intention of pursuing him, or you even think about pursuing him, the stand will attack you and things will begin knocking into you. And the head doctor doesn't even need to be around you. Although we do see a shot of the head doctor at some point, but I think it was just from their memory. I don't think the head doctor is actually near this area or anything, because that just wouldn't make sense. They've been hiding out. Why would the head doctor just be walking past him or anything like this? So when they come up with the idea for the head doctor, the stand immediately attacks, which is kind of like a retaliation. Like, oh, you thinking about pursuing me? Like, no, you're not. So they freak out. It appears in the backseat. They punch after it and they jump out of the car. And then we begin the chase. And this is where the rain from earlier comes in, where as they're running away, they see the police chasing after them. It's just a shitstorm at this point. Everything's just like converging on them and they're just kind of screwed. The police are after them. They're being attacked by a stand. They have no cover or anything. They're in the wide open. And as it begins to rain, the raindrops are like applied the effect of the, I don't want to say head doctor stand, because I'm not 100% sure on this. I don't know, I guess we'll say the pursuit stand or whatever. So its effect is applied to the raindrops, and it begins to deal like a massive amount of damage to him. Just like we saw back in chapter 86, where very small things running into our main cast would cause like massive damage. And we see also that it is only in fact on them, because the same police that are like, attention, 909 or 50-50, we found the suspects, Josuke and Mamazuku, they're at the park right now, requesting backup. As the police are talking about them. They dive into the policeman's car, and it's like, move over, like, we're coming in. And you see that the rain is not causing like massive damage to the car or any physical objects around them. It's just specifically Josuke and Mamazuku that are being affected by it. And after Josuke and Mamazuku realize how actually dangerous this stand is, being able to affect pretty much any object, even be the rain that falls from the sky, it can apply its ability to it. And they're like, wow, we took this stand for granted. And so they're sitting inside the police car, and for some reason Josuke has a weird thought where it's like, you know, I guess he's just always thinking of Yasuo. That's like the romantic interest in the entire part right now is, you know, the relationship between Josuke and Yasuo. So he's always thinking about her, and he's like, oh my gosh, this stand is so dangerous. If Yasuo comes after him, like, she is absolutely screwed. And then as I was reading this, I was like, all right, what happens next? Turn the page, and that's the end of the damn chapter. Only 35 pages this month. And it's like, I really thought that for some reason, I don't think 35 was that short. I feel like we've had plenty of 35-page chapters before, although we've been getting kind of spoiled recently in the past few months. I think we even had a 50-page chapter and like a 45-page one. And of course, there wasn't too much dialogue in this chapter, and especially in the middle part where they're running away from the rain. It's pretty much just a lot of action. I was turning the page really fast and just caught me off guard. I don't know about any of you guys, but when I reached the end of this chapter, I was like, no way, no, did I not download another page or something? Like, there's got to be more. But yeah, that is the end of the chapter, unfortunately. And when Josuke and Mamazuku are running away from the rain, they have some dialogue between them, and it's always important to take note of the words that Araki emphasizes. And Mamazuku said, like, I just want to know his identity. If only I could see his face. The only thing I want to see is this guy's face. And the more I think about this head doctor character, it's like, I really don't think that this person that we see, this, you know, cripply old man in a cane that's just always walking away, I don't even think that's a real person. Personally, in my opinion, like, I really think that if we ever get to a point where they actually do meet up with the head doctor and you know, they turn him around, like, I feel like his face would just be like just completely blank. Like, I really just couldn't see this guy that also his design is very just like uninspired. He's pretty much just like a black silhouette. So he already like doesn't really have a design, and his body type just looks really out of character for JoJolion, and he doesn't even really look like a person. He just looks like kind of like a blob, and I honestly would not be surprised at all if what Josuke and Mamazuku think is the head doctor is just a projection that's created by a stand. Or what I wanted to get into earlier is that how I still believe that this stand could potentially be Toru's. Like, what if Toru's stand creates a projection of something, and as the people, as whoever's pursuing that projection follow it, then the stand will be able to follow him that way. That's another way I thought of it, but I don't know, man. That just makes sense to me. The more I see this head doctor character and just this weird silhouette he is, and we've seen like little bits of his face, and it's just wrinkles, and it doesn't look very thoughtful at all. Like, I don't think that this is an actual character. I think that this could be a projection of another stand. It could be maybe Paper Moon Kane, but I'd be really surprised if we eventually, like, I just don't see that, where we meet the head doctor and the head doctor is a person and he talks. Like, we've just seen the back of him so much, and he moves around so weirdly, just like he's teleporting around. Like, we saw him at Tsurugi's school, and we also saw him out in the out by the water at the Higashikata home way back a few chapters ago with Mitsuba before the fun arc started again. Like, he just seems to be everywhere and at once, and like, I don't know, to me, I don't think it's an actual person. I think it's a projection, and I think he is a creation of a stand's ability. How is this old man getting around so much? Even at the hospital, where there were like, it seems like he's teleporting or he's just moving really fast. Like, it appears as if he's walking, but he's moving really slow. And just all of these things, him being at the school, him being out by the Higashikata home, and then him being like, you know, able to just leave the hospital without anyone noticing him, and us not being able to catch up with this old man walking with a cane. Just, yeah, that's sort of my theory going on with the head doctor right now. I don't think it's a real person. The real question is, what stands are going on right now? I think it could be a two-person stand. I think one stand could be a projection of the head doctor, and another stand could be Toru's that we think is, you know, maybe making people bump into things. And it would make sense that it's Toru's as well, because Toru physically bumped into to Josuke the first time. So the stand appeared back, I'm going off memory right here, so hopefully I'm right. I think I am though. The stand appeared behind them in the stairwell, and then the first time they were hit by something was Toru. Toru bumped into them with the stretcher, and that was the first time they ever bumped into something after the stand appeared. So it's like, that again makes me believe that this could potentially be Toru's stand. But because this is JoJolion, it's so hard to predict anything. Like, who knows, maybe the head doctor is a real person, he's just this really old guy, and this is just his stand. But things are just being way too weird, and we've seen the head doctor or at least the physical thing that we think the head doctor is, do too many weird things. So let me know what you guys think about that theory and if you have any other evidence that might support it. But for the time being, that head doctor for me is a projection, not a person. But I think for now, that's going to conclude my thoughts on JoJolion 89 and like the big theory I have for the head doctor going on right now. So again, let me know what you guys thought about this chapter and maybe how this will continue after this. I think we'll continue the pursuit, of course. And I love how Araki has already used the chapter title pursuit before. So he just added an adjective, just like, yeah, throw dangerous in front of it. Now we're no longer in a pursuit, we're in a dangerous pursuit now. So unfortunately, this month's chapter was a bit shorter than I would have liked, and it was a lot of action going on, and we just got some more information regarding this stand that we're being attacked by that we kind of already knew from chapter 36, but we're getting closer to the harvest. We're only 48 hours away, and we just kind of skipped through 4 days, so I'm fine with that. The closer to the harvest, the better. I'm really excited for things to heat up and everyone converge once this fruit actually grows and can be harvested. And my favorite part from this chapter, the highlight, had to have been the Lamborghini in the trees. The only way I could see the Lamborghini getting up into this tree is if Josuke put a bunch of bubbles under it and then lifted the Lamborghini up while they were inside it and just placed it in these. So I wish we would have saw that happen, but I guess that's the true mystery of JoJolion. We'll never know how they got the Lamborghini in the tree. But in general, this was a really good chapter. I think, a lot happened in these 35 pages. More about the head doctor, cool Lamborghini in a tree, and then the beginning of the pursuit. And I assume since we spent 2 chapters with Jobin and Ojiro, the next few chapters will be all about this because it's a part 1, so we'll get Dangerous Pursuit part 2, and then maybe 3 or 4. And, maybe this whole head doctor thing will come to an end relatively soon, and we'll finally find the mystery and see if I was right or not, if this is actually a real person, which, again, I don't think it is. So thank you guys so much for watching JoJolion Chapter 89 review. We didn't see as much of the head doctor as I would have liked, but Mamazuku did say 89 years old this chapter, so it all works out in the end. Like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you guys real soon, and I cannot wait for the next month of JoJolion. Peace, guys.